to Charm Chats.
Yo, welcome to Charm Chats. I don't want to start over. Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra.
And Kat. That's totally all going to stay in because it's funny as hell. Hi, guys.
This is going to be a bit of a weird one.
Oh, man.
Neither of us are feeling very well.
It is.
And Blue's got his humping pillow, so
Yeah.
we may get distracted by that.
Oh, man. Today is just a distractible day. We are on episode 417. Which
Saving Private Leo.
It's, of course, a play on Saving Private Ryan, which was a movie that came out in 1998 and was about a war.
Yeah.
You
I keep
know.
getting it and Band of Brothers mixed up, except I think Saving Private Ryan had Tom Hanks in it.
Yeah.
So,
I've never seen
I've
it, so-
had a hard-on for the World War II movie genre.
No.
Unlike
I think-
every suburban middle-class dad.
I think Saving Private Ryan was like the war at Normandy or something.
Probably.
I think that's what
I remember some
but-
buildings.
Yeah. This is also our first title with Leo's name in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. This one aired on March 28th, 2002. I would just like people to remember that date. I'll bring up a thing later.
Okay.
So, let's get right into it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to bring up.
Let's get right on into it because this is an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, I love this episode. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
this is an episode when it comes to continuity and just like what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's an episode. So we start in the kitchen at the manor.
Phoebe is sitting at the kitchen table working on her laptop.
She's wearing a red V-neck tank top that has a mostly open back. It is slightly cropped and is gathered at the front in what looks to be like a flower kind of gather pattern. She is wearing no bra and white pants that tie at the front. They kind of look like yoga pants, but like before yoga pants were like a thing.
Yeah, but
that's a
yoga
much
pants
more
have been a thing
now.
longer than we
But they're
think.
not sweatpants. They're
True.
more like very tight, thin white yoga pants.
Spandexy.
Yeah. Her hair is in high curled pigtails, and I adore it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice little spiral curls.
Yep. And she has that little diamond horseshoe necklace on, and she has her glasses on, which I like. If she's had them on before, I haven't really noticed, but this was I noticed them this time, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Paige comes in. She is wearing a pink tank top that is slightly cropped and has slightly ruffled straps. It's like a weird detail, but you know. Light tan pants and a large fabric belt that once again is more fashion than function. It's black and has some like fabric trails coming off of the side, and there's like a chain dangling from left to right in the front.
Mm-hmm. Paige has taken over most of the weird wardrobe vibes from Phoebe.
Yeah, like Phoebe's clothes
also
are
adding
getting a little
in-
bit more.
Also adding in season
Conservative.
3 Prue, like weird handkerchief tops.
Yeah, she's got some interesting clothing choices. They all do, but Paige's fashion over function choices are always going to be interesting to me.
Yeah. Prue's belts only ever appeared when she needed to be on a wire.
Yeah. Paige's hair is mostly down with just the bangs pulled back by a clip in that lovely little, like, mini pompadour type thing.
Bouffant.
Yeah. Piper is wearing black pants and a thin, long-sleeve white shirt that has lacing detail on the wrists, and then there's like a little bell sleeve after that, and down the center, that kind of shows off a little bit of cleavage, and ties at the front, at the top of the neck there. And her hair is half pulled back with a little barrette.
I would call that a peasant blouse.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little more...
It gave me peasant blouse vibes.
Yeah.
Damn sure.
Yeah, it's definitely like a more casual medieval kind of shirt. I liked it. It was a nice shirt. But her hair is pulled back with this like barrette that I swear gets smaller throughout the episode. Because it starts out this like kind of medium thickness, but it's like long. And by the end of the episode, it's small. It's this little like bubble barrette. It's
That's
very weird.
Piper offers Paige some wheat germ pancakes, but Paige is like, nah, I grab a bagel.
Yeah. Wheat germ is apparently a really good source of fiber and vitamins, but it will go rancid if not properly stored in the fridge or freezer and away from sunlight. Kind of like me.
Uh-huh.
Keep me away from the sunlight.
But don't store you in the freezer.
No, but keep me properly stored with refrigeration.
Yes, she says, pointing to the fan in the next room.
Yes. When I get sick, I get overheated. It's not fun. Cole is wearing a gray suit with a blue shirt and tie and wondering where his deposition papers are.
He holds up a folder with some cream cheese just spread on it.
Yeah.
And Paige is like, oh, check the one with the jelly stain.
Yeah.
And then he finds the correct one and finds his work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very weird. Like, why? It doesn't look like it was like cream cheese got like dropped on it. It looks like someone took it with a knife and just smeared it on his paperwork.
Well, yeah, because Props probably did.
Yeah. But it's just like,
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
He
Anyway.
goes over to Phoebe and reminds her that his law firm is having a party and he wants to show off his new bride. And she's like, I need to finish my work.
Yeah. Piper then offers Cole some pancakes. He replies that he's watching his cholesterol, which is something I won't explain because I'm not a scientist. I'll
And
link to
I don't
it because,
understand how wheat germ would help with that.
or wouldn't in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand science and health things. Just
Yeah.
look at me.
This is an audio medium, Kat. We can't look at you.
You can.
Just go to our Instagram.
Yeah. Piper then offers pancakes to Phoebe, who asks for quiet instead because she has a deadline and she has a hilarious line delivered so seriously. A little shush with some syrup on it would be good. It's like it's such a stupid line, and yet she does it in such a serious tone.
Leo orbs in. He's got a gray t-shirt under a red plaid shirt and khaki pants.
Yes. This is stereotypical like season 1 Leo outfit. Handyman Leo outfit.
Yeah, although he tended to just wear like the white t-shirt a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, Piper is excited because she's like, oh, he'll eat pancakes. But he's like, no, I just came from my toolbox.
Piper says that she's not cooking for them anymore, and she takes her pancakes around the island by Paige. Cole then flicks his hand, and the toaster pops up with a shock of electricity. Paige is concerned about her bagel,
Yeah.
as you do. And as she turns around, she bumps into Piper, who drops her pancakes on the floor, breaking the plate.
Phoebe, because of all the commotion, yells for quiet. Her laptop then beeps and dies because, like an idiot, she didn't have it constantly plugged in.
Yeah. But you would think...
And this is not the era of laptops where they had any kind of battery. Really?
Yeah,
They could last for, what, an hour?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest thing is, like, I know on IMDb somebody mentioned, like, well, why wouldn't she have had a battery backup? It's like, because they didn't really have that. This is like original laptops. This is an original Mac laptop where the Apple is upside down when you open it. That's how old this is. The Apple is pointing the other direction.
I didn't even, look at the thing on the laptop because I'm like, it's the wrong color. I forgot Macs used to be a different color.
Yeah, Macs used to be just black. And then the Apple was facing the person. When you had the laptop closed, the Apple was facing you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The air.
You know, we're gonna deal with the air conditioning.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick. I don't want to be hot, so we're gonna just deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's like how old this is. Is it had a battery, but that was more of a, oh, your power went out, quick, save your shit and shut down. That's all that battery was good for. Like, it was not meant to be you can work on this battery for 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
Like, even my computer is a gaming computer, and I can be on this computer without it being plugged in for, 3 or 4 hours. And I still come over here. We record this podcast in less than 2, and I still come over here and plug it in, because I'm not a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Cole then looks at the smoke alarm and it goes off.
Leo notices it and levitates up to just
Turn
it off.
Yeah.
Cole then leans next to Phoebe and whispers in her ear that she'd have quiet if they had their own place. And then when she turns in surprise, kisses her.
Yep.
He says he's meeting personal assistants and he heads off. And Phoebe grabs her shit and heads for quote-unquote quieter pastures.
Yeah. Leo sighs. Piper says he looks tired, and he says that he's been working double shifts for the elders ever since they took out the source. Paige asks about the toolbox, and Piper says that Leo poses as a heavenly handyman, saying that that's how they met, because apparently she doesn't remember that moment of running into him on the street that one time. Continuity.
I can see her not remembering that, though.
Yeah. I think we had that conversation when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we did.
Yep.
Because they wrote that for season 3.
Yep.
Just,
you know,
occasionally they just retcon shit in this show.
Uh-huh. Leo says that the elders want him to check out a potential white lighter, a school teacher who needs some inspiration. And at the mention of inspiration, Piper says that it's the 60th anniversary of the Battle of Guadalcanal, so there's a reunion for local veterans, and she sent in an RSVP for Leo.
Now, in case you don't have a suburban white dad hard-on for World War II, let's tell you a little bit about Guadalcanal.
I'm just at least going to tell you the dates, just so you have a clue.
The dates in question are August 7th, 1942, through February 9th, 1943.
Smack
so
dab in the middle of World War II.
Now, this is the campaign. I don't know if there's something different that was just specifically the Battle of Guadalcanal.
That was the Battle of Guadalcanal. Was August of 42 to February of 43. That was just the Battle at Guadalcanal.
Okay.
World War II was earlier than that to later than that.
Yes. And if you asked when they started calling it World War I, don't be on QI. You'll get the buzzer.
It was after World War II.
I think that's probably my favorite clip of David Mitchell on QI, because they're like, when did they start calling World War I World War I? And he gives, like, you know, a generic, this is probably right answer of, like, well, sometime after 1939, I imagine. And the buzzer goes off saying 1939, like the klaxon, and he's like, excuse me, saying after 1939 may contain 1939, but is not synonymous. And then it klaxons again to say after World War II, and he's like, hold up the fuck. This is just giving you time to type David Mitchell is a tit.
Oh, man.
I love that man so much.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
Leo is against it. He says he can't be seen there. And Piper's like, it's okay. I told them you're your own grandson.
Yeah. He then says that he doesn't want to go and gets upset that she didn't ask him first and just made the decision for him. And he grabs his toolbox and immediately orbs out without even saying goodbye, leaving Piper and Paige both looking confused.
Mm-hmm.
And I legit was like, well, let's see. It's the 60th anniversary of the battle that he died in. Just put that out there. Why would you think he'd want to go to that?
Uh-huh.
Here, have the memory of the day you died.
Yeah, because we've heard how it happened that he died, and he very memorably wore his own uniform, which how
Halloween.
did he even have access to that?
Yeah.
Steal it from his own widow?
There are so many questions.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just this sudden, like, childish sort of avoidance of the thing is new.
Mm-hmm.
Because he hasn't really projected any of this before.
Right. At least not, on print.
Yes.
Yeah. We fade into an exterior shot of a building that says Patriotic Hall on the outside, and I thought it was very funny. And then find ourselves inside a room with a woman sitting at a table sifting through some mail and two male ghosts in army green hanging out around her.
Some nice tight t-shirts.
Yeah. The woman is just credited as secretary, so I will tell you about her quickly. Laurie Johnson, and that's Laurie, Lauri, was born Laura Denise Smith in Santa Monica, California, 2 days after Christmas in 1949. She has 73 acting credits so far, starting back in 1985, mostly doing single episodes of TV shows, and her current gig is playing Beatrice on the show Mom, for anybody who's watching that. I am not.
The ghosts, as we will find out at some point, they call each other, are Rick and Nathan. Sorry, not Morty, Nathan.
Sure.
So we're going to tell you about them now.
Yeah.
Rick is played by Costas Mandylor, which is an excellent fucking name.
Yes.
He was born September 3rd, 1965, in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Sorry, Melbourne.
Yes.
He has 128 acting credits so far, starting back in 1988. And a lot of people might recognize him from Picket Fences, which was a show back in 1992. He played Kenny Lakos for 88 episodes. And Holly was also on that show.
Yep. So that's fun.
It was one of her first shows.
Nathan
Is played by his brother.
Yes. Louis Mandylor. He was born September 13th, 1966. So, a year and 10 days.
Almost Irish twins.
Yeah.
But they're definitely not Irish. Not with a name like
No.
Mandylor.
Actually, I'll get there in a second, but they're Greek.
Oh, I was wondering where that would be from.
Yeah.
It's either that or they're Mandalorians.
Yeah, no. But I understand that reference, and I thought of it too. He was born in the same place as his brother in Australia. He has 125 acting credits so far, starting back in 1990, and he is what I lovingly call the more famous of the brothers.
Yeah.
Some people might remember him as Nick in the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding and its spin-off TV show My Big Fat Greek Life, which did not last very long because they didn't get the same guy to play the main dude.
Yeah.
Just saying. Now, both Costas and Louis had the original last name that was long in Greek.
Theodosopoulos.
Yes. Thank you.
It's a lot of O's.
It's so many O's.
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 O's.
Yeah.
5 O's, an E, and a U.
Yeah. Theodosopoulos.
But they use their mom's maiden name of Mandylor for stage names.
And I, for one, thank them so much.
Yes.
Because Theodosopoulos is just... That is a mouthful.
The good thing about Greek names is that even if they look intimidating, you can work through them. It'll just take a while.
You just have to,
like, they're...
portion it out.
Mm-hmm. And the other good thing is that if you know the names of the Greek letters and you go to Greece, you can sound out most of the signage. You won't know what it fucking means.
Right, but you can at least figure out what it says.
Out.
Yeah. Anyway, Nathan wants to scare the secretary lady, but Rick tells him to just watch her. Nathan is annoyed because they've been watching and waiting for almost 60 years and wonders why he even sticks around.
Rick says that they stay together because he promised to protect Nathan in the war, but failed, and he's not going to fail again. And then the secretary holds up a letter, seemingly interested by it, and the ghosts try to move closer to see what it says. But because
they
the
don't
ghosts
actually get closer.
Yeah, but because we're getting this perspective of the ghost from the camera, and the camera won't move, they're like, oh, we can't see the return address. Like,
yeah. Sit back, Granny. Like, dude, you're a fucking ghost. Just move closer.
Yeah.
What is your problem? I didn't understand it.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Anyway, Rick reads that Leo Wyatt's grandson is coming to the reunion with his wife. And Nathan's like, what's the address? But, of course, camera, blah, 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 we just mentioned.
Right.
So Nathan asks if he can scare the lady now. And Rick's like, yeah, sure. So Nathan lets out a soft howl.
Yeah, it's kind of like a moaning howl. And she gets scared. She jumps out of the chair, looking around at the room, and nothing is there. And then Nathan reads off the address from the return address label. And so, side note, here we go. Day number 1. We see the return address label on the envelope, and it says Mr. and Mrs. Leo Wyatt, which I could have sworn she kept Halliwell, but I understand why for this particular event she would have had that as a thing, because this is Leo's thing, not hers. I kind of get it. That's fine. But it also shows the postmark on the envelope. Now that is the stamp that shows when the letter was delivered to the post office. This letter bears the postmark date of February 11th, 01. Reminding you, this episode aired March 28th, 02. So someone didn't think to change that in the prop department. Like, they just were like, oh, this is a letter. It doesn't matter. It says February. That's good enough.
Yeah, these were the days when the details would get lost.
Yeah.
They absolutely would get lost. No one screenshots the sign in your bookshop door to read it.
Yeah.
And no one...
There weren't as many nitpickers back.
I mean, yeah, there was you, but like...
Yes. But, like, I'll admit that I probably wouldn't have noticed it the first time through because, you know, I didn't pause on that to see it.
Yeah.
But this is definitely I have it in HD. I can pause and go, like, scene by scene. This is very much a nitpicker heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to figure this shit out.
Although it's not... What we're watching is not really in HD.
No, it isn't.
The HD is coming out,
It's faked HD.
It's at least cleaned up.
Yes.
It's not going through broadcast waves and getting distorted there.
Yes.
Have you seen the video of the generations of VHS distortion?
I have not.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Basically, someone takes this music video that aired on TV that they taped on VHS and they copy it to another VHS and they just watch the distortions. Like, they keep doing this and they just watch what distortions happen when.
Interesting.
And it's wild.
Fascinating. Anyway, so Nathan wants to leave right then, but Rick wants to have some fun first. So he closes his eyes and he goes invisible, and then he starts typing on the computer keyboard, and he seems to only be using the letters T, K, N, I, and H, but the phrase, I am coming for you, shows up on the screen over and over again.
Someone tried to think of something else.
Yeah, it's very funny, because, like, he's literally just using those letters because those are the letters that they put on strings to pull down to make it look like someone was tapping on the keys.
Yep.
This, of course, freaks the woman out, and then the blinds and the windows open and close, and papers fly around the room, and books fall off the shelves.
So she starts screaming and runs for the door and gets scared by a file cabinet opening in her way.
Yep.
And then when she finally gets to the door, which is closed, Rick pokes his head through it. He's visible to her, and he shouts, "Boo!"
Yep.
So she screams even louder, runs out the other door and down the hallway, and she's doing that run where, like, her arms are up.
Yeah, with the arm flailing.
And just screaming the entire way.
Yep. Rick
Very
starts
hilarious.
to run out of the room after her, but Nathan stops him and reminds him that they are after Wyatt, not the woman. And we go to the opening credits.
We have no Daryl this episode.
It's so sad, but I understand.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
We pan down from the chandeliers in the wicker room to see Phoebe sitting at the cafe table. She is, of course, working on her laptop, which has now been plugged into a surge protector extension cord.
Yep, which is then plugged into an outlet on the wall. And this is when I realized, like, for some reason it hadn't really clicked into my brain that the conservatory, this wicker room, as I lovingly call it, is basically an add-on to the back of the house because the walls to the house is siding.
Yeah.
And for some reason that didn't click in my brain until this moment because we don't normally see this view.
Mm-hmm.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Paige walks in asking about her keys.
and she has added a jacket to her outfit that is striped in shades of orange, red, and yellow, and it ties in the front with an orange bow. It's a cute little jacket, but again, it's more fashion than function, because, like, it doesn't... Like, it gives her a little more coverage than the shirt she's wearing, but not by much. And I could totally see, like, Prue probably wearing that jacket without a shirt underneath it.
Or Phoebe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, Phoebe's like, no, I haven't seen your keys. Then Piper walks in and sits down at the table next to Phoebe and starts complaining that Leo isn't answering her call.
Paige asks if it's an emergency, and Piper's like, no, I just want to know why he's mad at me, because, you know, I don't think it's just that he doesn't want to go to the reunion.
Yeah. Paige reminds Piper that Leo died at Guadalcanal, and Piper's like, yeah, but he died a hero. And then remembers that Leo doesn't talk about it very much.
She realizes that Phoebe isn't paying attention and is just continuing to type on her laptop, so Piper takes hold of the laptop to get her attention and asks what she thinks.
Phoebe's like, I think I came into this room to get away from the chatter. And then she closes her laptop and unplugs it.
She doesn't save her work. She doesn't close down her program.
This is just asking for trouble.
Yep. She then says she's a working Phoebe and she's on a deadline, which I do think that is a good line. I'm a working Phoebe.
Yeah. Paige then, after much digging, finds her keys in between the couch cushions and gets startled when she gets up by seeing Nathan on the landing of the stairs.
She asks who he is. He's surprised that she can see him. She says she can see through him.
And then Piper comes over and tells her to stand back.
Piper calls to Phoebe, who is just setting back up in the dining room. And she walks in as the ghost disappears through the wall, and Piper's like, we saw a ghost. Paige mentions that it's her first ghost, at least her first she wasn't related to, and that it was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Now,
she's a little awestruck.
yeah, I do think it's very fun, though, that, like, there's a thing on the IMDb goofs that's like, she says it was the first ghost she saw that she wasn't related to, but even though they raised her, they weren't her real parents, so she wasn't related to them. I'm like,
God.
oh my god, people with the technicalities.
Like, come on, they were her parents.
Like, I understand what you mean, but shut up. Even I wouldn't have done that as a goof, you know?
Yeah, no.
Anyway, sorry, when I get sick, apparently I get more nitpicky than normal.
Mm-hmm.
This is great.
Yeah, like, I don't discount my cousins that are adopted.
Yeah,
They're still my cousins.
exactly.
Piper says it's not cool considering who they are and what they do, and he's probably not friendly.
Yes.
Phoebe
He
is, of course...
Casper, he is not.
Yes, no. Phoebe is, of course, annoyed by this turn of events and asks what they do. Piper's like, oh, you keep working. I'll brush up on my ghost busting and look at the Book of Shadows. And Paige is like, no, I'll do it. Piper reminds her she's late for work, and Paige is too excited about finding out about the ghost.
She calls him a piece of man-hunk history, which is just the funniest line.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Piper tells her to knock herself out, and Paige heads up the stairs.
We pan over to a table full of photographs in different frames, and one of the frames looked like a little chair. It was super cute. And Piper picks up a photo of Leo in his army uniform and just kind of stares at it for a moment. And then that picture is used to transition into our next scene. It was really nicely done.
Mm.
And we see that we are back in this patriotic hall place, in the memorial hall, I guess. And we see the picture of Leo on the wall, and the label under it says Corp Leo Wyatt.
Corporal,
Yes, but it just says Corp.
Mm.
May 6, 1924, November 24th, 1942. Now, dear listeners, let's do some math, shall we?
I know it might not be our strong suit, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Those dates would make Leo 18 years old at the time of his death.
Almost 18 and a half.
Brian was 33 at the time of this episode's air date.
Yep. Quick question. If he had been a lieutenant and it were abbreviated, how would you have said that?
What do you mean?
Because it would have been LT.
I would have said LT.
Okay. That's funny to me for some reason. I don't know why.
Because I was reading what it said, not what it meant.
But we do need to know what it meant.
Sure. Anyway,
we pan back and we see other pictures on the Wall of Honor.
and let
Rick...
me tell you how hard it was to not spell honor with a U in my notes. Just saying.
Rick is staring at Leo's picture, and then Nathan appears nearby and walks over.
Rick asks for a recon report, and Nathan says that Wyatt's grandson is living the good life.
Yeah, Rick's like, he won't be for long. And Nathan's like, yeah, not only was his wife there, but she could see me. And then she has 2 sisters.
So, with the knowledge that there are 3 witches in play, Nathan wonders if they should just forget about whatever it is they're planning.
Because apparently, throughout their unlife,
Yeah.
they've learned about witches,
Mm-hmm.
but not much deeper than that. They don't know that they're the charmed ones. They don't know
Right.
that 3 sister witches would be the charmed ones.
Yeah. They know about witches, they know about some supernatural stuff, but, like,
Yeah.
not a lot of it.
Yeah. Basically what you get from trial and error.
Yeah. Rick thinks that the grandson should pay for what the grandfather did, because of course he does. That's
why he's still there.
things, yeah.
Because he says that they're trapped in hell on earth.
Yeah, and he pulls Leo's photo off the wall. It smashes to the ground.
He more swipes it, really.
Yeah.
Swiper,
Sure.
no swiping.
Yes. Thank you for that. It smashes to the ground. Nathan asks to be shown how to do that, and then a guard walks around the corner. Now, this actor is, I'm assuming, O.B. Smith. He has no picture on IMDb. This was his first acting gig of his listed 16 credits. But out of all of the characters that it could be, that's the one that said security guard, so I'm assuming that's this guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the episode that I think so far that had the most people in the list that didn't have pictures.
Well, yeah, because that scene at the end.
Yeah. It was very weird.
Anyway, Rick decides that there's no time like the present to learn this new trick, and as the guard stands there staring at the wall and the fallen picture, not really moving towards it, Rick says that hatred can harden the heart, and it can also harden the body.
Oh, boy.
He walks toward the guard, startling him as he becomes visible, but there's like a bit of a delayed effect with the dude OB's acting.
Yeah.
Because they wait until the reverse shot for him to show it.
Yeah.
So it comes off a little silly.
Yeah, it was a
and
little
of course,
weird.
since like we, the audience, can see him the entire time, it's tough to tell when we're supposed to be able to actually see him.
Yeah. He then grabs a bayonet off a nearby display mannequin and stabs the guard with it.
Well, a rifle with a bayonet.
Yes, well, a bayonet is a knife, sword, or spike-shaped weapon that is designed to fit onto the end of a rifle's muzzle, allowing it to be used as a spear. Now, today's bayonets are much more multi-purpose items, which can be used as, utility knives, wire cutters, even bottle openers. They're basically there now as the knife component, and it can also be used as a bayonet, but that's not its main purpose anymore.
Yeah, they're also much smaller than this.
Yes.
Anyway, the guard falls to the floor. He has his gun drawn, but he apparently can't do anything while he's bleeding out.
Rick tells Nathan to focus everything Wyatt stole from them, life, family, future, and bring the hatred to the surface.
Nathan apparently does so and turns opaque,
Yeah.
which means he's visible. Rick then tells him to take the bayonet and practice, since they'll need to be at the top of their game, and witches are around.
Yeah. We then jump over to Cole's office, where he is interviewing a blonde in a black jacket and short skirt.
Yeah, she does that leg recrossing thing, like Sharon Stone.
Yes, it's very reminiscent of the Basic Instinct scene, but it isn't as blatant, and her legs stay completely closed as she crosses them. We will learn that her name is Julie, so let me tell you about the actress right quick. Deborah Kellner, born January 20th in 1977. She was born in Corpus Christi, Texas. She only has 19 acting credits between 1995 and 2002, and this was her second to last acting role, with her final role being the character of Deborah Jo in the movie Catch Me If You Can.
Which was one of the flight attendants, if you don't recall.
Yes, such a good movie. It was
Such
such
a
a good
movie.
book.
I'd never read the book. I have listened to the musical, though.
I haven't listened to the musical, but I've read the book and I've seen the movie.
Aaron Tveit is the main character.
I love him.
And then Norbert Leo Butz is the detective.
Nice.
So it's very fun. I know him from last 5 years, so it's very fun going from that and being like, but where's Kathy? I find this funny because her name is Deborah, as in Deborah, spelled, and then the last role is Deborah, like Barbara.
Yeah.
As in, like, Streisand.
Yes.
So, though they just dropped a couple of
Couple letters
there.
Yep.
Anyway, cool.
They took the O out.
Yeah, and the H.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
You meant the word O, not the letter O.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cole starts going through the normal interview questions, like what kind of legal documents she drafted as a paralegal, what her dictation speed is, and then he goes into more specific questions like how fast can she shimmer across town, what her demonic powers are, and when her last kill was.
Now we learn that she can shimmer 30 miles in 2 seconds.
So it's good to know that this has a rate.
Yeah. That she can cast fireballs and shapeshift, and that she hasn't killed anyone in 2 years.
He asks why it's been so long, and she's like, it's messy. I like to be discreet. And she does that voice and that eyebrow thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's like, you know what? I'll give you a trial run. I'm trying to separate my wife from the harmful influence of her sisters.
Which she automatically knows are the charmed ones.
Yeah. He explains that Phoebe might be pregnant with his son. She's like, oh, it sounds like you love her.
And then he glances at a picture of him and Phoebe on his desk and says that a part of him does, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. He then walks around his desk to stand in front of her, saying that he's trying to make her home feel cramped and unlivable.
He mentions that he's already set off the fire alarm and he'll be cutting the power that afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
She understands that he's trying to seduce Phoebe with the promise of a better life, and then he leans in close to her and says that it takes caution and focus.
He says that he needs someone to cover him at work and watch his back, and she replies with, she'll watch whatever part he wants.
Yeah, it was very overt.
Yeah.
We jump back over to Leo, hand in toolbox, grabbing a wrench to fix a sink.
And then we see a woman, apparently the teacher he's there to help, standing nearby.
Now, we will eventually learn that her name is Maria, so let me tell you about her. Evie Peck has 27 acting credits between 1986 and 2014, including playing Karen on 2 episodes of Gilmore Girls. Not much else to say about her.
Yep. Oh, right, she was his secretary.
On Gilmore
She
Girls?
was Richard's secretary. The new one that Lorelai helped hire.
Well, there you go. Maria is telling Leo that she had to suspend a kid because he brought a knife to class, and now he's threatening her, saying that he knows where she lives.
And Leo's like, I'm a plumber because pipes are easier to deal with than kids. He's basically spitting platitudes this entire scene.
Yeah, it's kind of great.
Yeah. Yeah. Maria says that she always wanted to be a teacher, but she's decided to quit because she doesn't want it to cost her life.
Which, to be fair, is a good reason these days, and it's even, more poignant these days.
Mm-hmm.
Leo laments losing all of the good she's going to do if she quits, and water starts spraying out of the pipe, because Leo is not an actual plumber, dude.
No.
He's just not. She says that she doesn't want to quit, but she doesn't have the courage to stay. And then Leo drops the wrench as the water starts to spray harder.
And he just wraps his hands around the little bit of pipe and heals it.
The water stops, and if she had been paying any attention to him, she would have seen the light coming from his hands, because it was quite bright.
But no, she didn't even notice the water spraying.
Yeah.
There was no hope of her noticing the unorthodox fixing method.
Yeah. He tells her to focus on the kind of courage that gets you from one moment to the next.
And I love as he's saying this because he flicks his hands in different directions.
Yeah.
From moment to next.
Yeah.
It's
try and get the water off his
me.
fingers. It was nice. She asks if he bills as a plumber or a therapist, and he replies, whatever it takes to stop the leak. Which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, it was nicely done.
Yeah. He stands up, says the leak has been healed, corrects that to sealed.
She asks what she owes him. He tells her that it's on the house, and they smile at each other.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a quick panning shot through a bush to see the exterior of the manor.
Yeah, it was like they were like, which bush haven't we used yet? This one. All right, set up the camera behind that and just pan to the right.
The only problem I have with that is that there's no fucking way they remember any of the bushes they've used.
Nope. Never.
Anyway, we then find ourselves back in the Wicker Room with a view into the dining room.
Paige is looking through the Book of Shadows, Piper is going through some of Leo's old letters and things, and Phoebe is in the dining room typing on her laptop.
Paige mentions a potion to vanquish ghosts, and Piper remembers that was used a few years ago, and then it gets poured over their bones.
She then holds up the Army Medal of Honor, once again, hard to not spell that with you, surprised that it was just stuffed into Leo's old army file like it didn't mean anything to him. Now, the Medal of Honor is the United States of America's highest and most prestigious personal military decoration, which is given to service members who have distinguished themselves by acts of valor. And valor is, of course, a different word for courage and or bravery. Now, the Army, Navy, and Air Force will all have one, and they all look slightly different. But each has a 5-pointed star with 1 point down, all tipped with trefoils, which are basically just like a clover.
Think Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah. And they are suspended from a blue ribbon that has 13 stars sewn into it.
Now, just looking at the thing, you'd be like, oh, cool, yeah, that's a Medal of Honor. When you put it on paper, the description of it, it's a 5-pointed star upside down with 13 stars. You're like, what?
Well, you have to remember 13 stars because we had 13 colonies.
I know.
It all makes sense.
I get
but
that.
It's still
but like,
a little bit like occulty.
It's hilarious to me.
So now the one that Piper is holding is actually a more modern one because it's on a neck ribbon and not just a suspension ribbon, not like a pin, which means that this was given out post 1944. Which doesn't mean a whole lot. That means that it was given to him posthumously after his death, but also given out after the war, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Because that would make the most sense. So it was probably given out sometime after 1949. Because I think that's when the war actually ended, was 49.
No, wasn't it 45?
Yeah, you are correct. 45 is when it ended because 39 is when it started. That's where I got confused. Anyway.
I mean, it did take a lot of time for other stuff to wind down as a result of the war, like liberating the concentration camps and stuff.
Yep.
You know, removing occupations and whatnot.
Yeah.
Closing the American concentration camps.
Yeah. So Paige thinks that Leo is just being humble, but Piper knows that it's more than that because she knows Leo.
Yeah. Phoebe mentions from the dining room that there's a spell in there to vanquish ghosts somewhere. Paige finds it, but mentions that you have to be a ghost to say it, and she's like, that's lame.
Yeah, it was kind of funny, and I went, oh, this is going to be foreshadowing, isn't it?
Yeah. Then the power goes out, and so does Phoebe's laptop.
And this is where I wrote in my note, I'm like, does this thing seriously not have a battery backup in it at all?
Was it not plugged in at this point?
Yeah, like, I could have sworn she had plugged it back in, but she had taken it into the dining room, so maybe she forgot to plug it back in.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up.
Yeah, Phoebe's like, I hadn't saved. I lost half my document. And, like, this is early days when that would still happen.
Yep.
Because that only happens to you once. And then you obsessively save your document after every fucking sentence.
Yeah.
Which is why I love, like, Google Docs. Because it just automatically saves as you go.
Yeah. And that's why I love the Open Office, which is what I use for my notes. Because I can see whether or not I've saved it. Because if the... if the little
floppy
save,
disk?
if the little save icon is blue,
Okay.
because this is the funny thing. I know it enough because it changes.
Okay.
It gets darker,
It does. Yeah.
and I know that it's blue because I've stared at it long enough to know what color it is. But so if it's dark, then I know that it hasn't been saved. But if it's light, then I know that it has.
Oh, I can even see the difference from here.
Exactly. So the little things. It's great.
Indeed.
Anyway. Piper says that she'll check the circuit breaker, and Phoebe starts heading into the kitchen, mumbling something about needing her own place, and then she brushes off Piper when she overhears that, and she goes to pick up the phone in the kitchen.
Which, reminding you, the power is out.
Phone shouldn't be working if the power is out. Just saying, because this is not... She didn't pick up a cell phone, she picked up the house phone.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yeah, she calls Cole's office. Julie answers, and Phoebe's like, who are you? So Julie says, Mr. Turner's new assistant, and then returns the question.
Phoebe replies that she's Mr. Turner's new wife, and Julie responds that she didn't know he was married, which is a complete and utter lie.
Yeah.
But
it's funny.
It's very funny. And Phoebe's like, he is, and I need to talk to him right now. Piper walks in, grabs a flashlight out of a drawer,
and Julie says he's not in the office, but offers to take a message.
And as Piper walks into the basement, Phoebe's like, no, you cannot take a message. Cole said he'd be in the office all day. I need to talk to him right away.
And as Piper walks through the door of the basement, we see Cole peek out from behind it.
And then we hear Phoebe in the other room say, hi, baby, into the phone, which surprises the shit out of Cole.
Yep.
His reaction was the best reaction.
Yeah.
Of like, hi, baby, who the fuck is she talking to?
Yeah, and he peeks through the crack in the door,
And
and
we
we see
see
Phoebe ask if he hired his assistant on the spot, and says he should have mentioned he was married.
And Cole like kind of peeks into the kitchen. He's very confused. And then Phoebe asks for his help. And we see Piper flip a switch on the circuit breaker. The lights come back on. She yells up that the power's back. And then Cole flames out before he gets caught.
Yeah, he flames directly into his office as Julie is standing at the desk talking on the phone to Phoebe in Cole's voice. Phoebe is just saying that she can't get any work done at the house and she's pushing her deadline. And then Julie, with Cole's voice, asks what he can do. Yeah. Which is how I'm choosing to pronounce the he with with an S in parentheses.
Yeah, well, because, Julie's the one asking, but she's asking for Cole, so.
Yeah.
Phoebe mentions that she can't go to her office because they're painting it. Thank you finally for that reasoning as to why you're not just at the fucking office.
Mm-hmm.
And Julie, again in Cole's voice, says that there's a place that she knows that Phoebe can work. Yes. That knows that Phoebe can work. And then Cole...
Julie invites him
to answer.
And so Cole, using his own voice, which sounds so eerily exactly like just what Julie has been using, in a way that makes me think all of it's ADR.
Possibly.
Like, it might not be, but,
yeah.
It's weird.
It's
or,
odd.
maybe when Deborah was saying, mouthing the lines, they just had Cole behind the camera saying it. Like, he was being mic'd, but she was the one looking like
maybe.
she was talking.
Yeah.
Like, it's too similar.
Yeah.
Which, if hers sounded like a recording and his sounded real, that might tip Phoebe off even through the phone line, so I don't know.
It's a little Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Before that was a thing, you know?
I think it's been a thing a lot longer than we think it's been a thing. But, visually, yeah, it's not as common.
No. Anyway, Cole tells Phoebe to meet him at the Towers in 20 minutes. And Phoebe's like, isn't that where the party is being held?
He's like, yeah, tonight, but no one's there right now.
Yeah. So Phoebe agrees. Cole immediately whispers to Julie that she's hired. And Phoebe says she'll see him there and hangs up. Piper then makes her way back into the kitchen. Phoebe tells her to call her cell if she's needed. And she leaves as Paige walks in, complimenting Piper on fixing the lights. I believe it was nice job, sister.
Yeah.
Something like that. James Charles has ruined the word sister for me. I'm just saying.
And
Piper questions what keeps tripping the breaker.
Mm-hmm. Paige is like, it might be a ghost. And then she holds up a photo from Leo's file of Leo with Rick and Nathan.
Paige explains that the ghost is the one on the left, his brother is the one on the right, and that they were both killed in action the same day as Leo. Now just remember that. Same day as Leo. Leo died on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that in your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she thinks that this might be the reunion that Leo's trying to avoid, and so Piper calls for Leo with an
I mean it this time.
Leo then orbs in, asks what she wants, and Piper shows him the photo.
He recognizes Nathan immediately because he says that one out loud. And it's one of those where it's like, he doesn't say, oh, Nathan and Rick. No, he just goes, Nathan. And you're just like, wait a second. Mm-hmm. Like for half a second. And then we'll find out why that's the name that he says first in a minute.
Yeah.
But in this scene, it's like, why does he know that that's the one that he should have said first? You know? It was a little weird in that moment.
Yeah, Piper says that they met and that, while transparent, he looked pretty good for a dead guy.
She asks him to talk to her. He says there's nothing to talk about. And then we hear Rick call out for Wyatt. Piper and Paige back away from the voice as Rick and Nathan walk through the wall.
Through the cabinets on the wall, too.
Yeah.
And the effect of them walking through, both when they come and when they leave, is a bit weird because it's flat to the plane of their face, but they're at an angle to the wall.
Yeah.
So both times, it's just like, huh?
Yeah. It's slightly off. It's not horrible.
No, it's not horrible, especially for this type of an effect.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rick quips that Nathan was right about him being the spitting image of his grandfather, and then grabs a kitchen knife.
Leo cries out a Rick, don't, but Rick throws the knife, hitting Leo in the chest. Leo falls to the floor against the cabinets, and Nathan wonders how he knew Rick's name.
So Leo pulls out the knife, and the wound just heals itself.
Rick immediately realizes that this is actually Leo and not a grandson, and Leo's like, I can explain, as the girls help him up.
So Nathan grabs Rick, telling him they need to leave, and they disappear back through the wall.
And we go to commercial break.
When we come back, Piper and Leo are sitting on the couch in the living room, with Paige sitting on the table in front of them.
Paige is confused as to why the ghosts aren't transparent anymore. Leo explains that they've been practicing becoming corporeal in order to move things, which Piper quips, yeah, like butcher knives, and that they've been holding onto their pain and it's stopping them from moving on.
Piper is, of course, confused by the their pain comment, reminding Leo they just tried to kill him, and Paige is like, it's lucky they're not Dark Raiders, or you'd be dead. Again.
Leo explains that they grew up together in Burlingame, which is a city in San Mateo County, California. It is known as the City of Trees because it has over 18,000 public trees, and they even had an ordinance passed in 1908 that prohibits cutting, injuring, or destroying trees.
That's super nice.
Yeah. Now, I actually knew a little bit about Burlingame because they have Mercy High School. It is the only private Catholic all-girls high school in the city, founded by the Sisters of Mercy in 1931, and my mother went to a school run by the Sisters of Mercy when she was a kid, so I've looked them up before. Chicago still has a school run by them called Mother Macaulay Liberal Arts High School. It is in Mount Greenwood, Chicago, neighborhood on 99th Street.
That's south.
Yes, very south.
Not that very south.
99th is...
It's not Midlothian south.
No, but it's 99th, so
it's very south in Chicago.
South.
It's about as far south you can get if you're still in Chicago.
But it's definitely South Chicago, It is not in a good neighborhood. Let's just put it that way.
No.
Anyway, Leo says he went to school with Nathan and that they made a deal with the recruitment officer that they would all enlist as long as they were all put in the same unit.
Paige realizes that they were very close, and Piper asks what they think he did. So he goes to stand in front of the fireplace. Is the fireplace on?
No, the fireplace is not on, but he kind of stands and puts his arm up on the mantle. He is observing a great exposition time stance.
Yes, very, very Sherlock or something. He says that they had just been transferred onto the island when they got ambushed and were taking heavy fire. There were so many injuries and bodies that it was hard to keep up, and then he heard Rick's voice.
And we jump into a flashback of the war with bombs and guns going off in the distance. And Rick carries Nathan away from the bombs and puts him on the ground, calling out for Leo. And we see Leo. They're all in their army fatigues. Mm-hmm. And Leo has his helmet on with the big red cross on it.
Yeah.
Because he's a medic. That's what he do. He calls to another soldier to stabilize the man he's already working on, and then runs over to Rick and Nathan.
Leo asks what hit him, and Rick says it was a mortar frag and that most of their men have been hit.
And then an explosion goes off nearby, so Leo says that they need to get Nathan inside.
Meaning under a tent.
Yeah. They pick him up, they carry him over to a stretcher, and Leo mentions sulfa powder to stop the bleeding, so I had to look that one up. So it was the first and only effective antibiotic available before penicillin. So it was used a lot in World War II, along with morphine. And fun fact, I am allergic to penicillin.
Ha, that's not a very fun fact.
Yeah, but only 10% of the population actually reports being allergic to penicillin, but only about 10% of that 10% is actually allergic. I am in that 10% of 10%.
Yes, so you're in the 1%?
I am.
Yes.
In just this thing. I know a more than zero amount of people who say they're allergic to penicillin when they're not, because they want to get the quote-unquote good medicine. I'm sorry, if penicillin works for you, then it's the good medicine, all right?
Yeah, also, it's not the weakest.
Yeah.
And, if you want to prevent antibiotic resistance, you start off with the weakest.
Yeah.
And you do all of your fucking pills.
Yes. Just because you're feeling better doesn't mean you stop taking your meds.
Uh-huh.
That is a general rule for life.
Yeah. This is how we get superbugs, people. So I'm hearing the lady from Archer being like, you want ants? This is how you get ants.
That's funny. But yeah, no, I salad girl.
Yes.
Sophia, she would always say that she was allergic to penicillin, even though she wasn't, because it got her the better drug. And I'm like, if you're not allergic to penicillin,
go for penicillin.
Go for penicillin. It works just as well.
No,
if you're not allergic to it.
I just remember the one scene in That 70s Show where Eric's mom is working and tells the doctor, the doctor's like, oh, give him penicillin. And she's like, oh, I think we might want to try blah, blah, blah. Probably sulfa, whatever.
I don't know.
But the actual name for it, not just sulfa powder. And the doctor's like, why are you questioning my orders? Oh, just because he's allergic to penicillin, and I think this one might make him a little less dead. And then Eric, ever the supportive son behind her, goes, I know I like to not die when I'm in the hospital.
Yep. Yeah. Luckily, I don't die if I get penicillin. I just get stupid itchy for the next 24 hours. It is not fun. It is not good, because it's not just an itch that you can scratch, because it's an itch on the entire inside of your body as well as the outside.
Isn't that what happens to you with coconut too?
Yep. That's how I know I'm allergic to coconut, because everything itches. That's how I know I'm allergic to raspberries, because everything itches.
I had raspberries for breakfast.
Anyway,
Leo asks how many more soldiers are down out in the field, and Rix is like, I'm not sure, but it's probably about 15 to 20, and Leo then asks the nurse for a morphine kit.
now the nurse is uncredited, but is played by Kimberly Faye Greenberg. She only has 5 acting credits, with this being her very first one. Her next 2 roles in 2 completely separate things, she played a character credited as singer. And in her last 2 roles, also 2 completely separate things, she played characters named Rachel. I just think that's funny.
Yeah.
It was, Anyway.
Yeah, Rick is begging Leo to help Nathan, and Leo asks if there's a medic in the field. Rick says he doesn't know, and so Leo tells the nurse to try and stabilize Nathan as he grabs his bag and starts to leave.
Rick asks what he's doing, and Leo says he's going to help the men in the field, while Nurse Wilkinson helps Nathan.
Rick is, of course, not happy with that, apparently thinking that Leo is choosing random people over his friends, but Leo apologizes and runs off.
As Rick is begging Leo not to let Nathan die, a bomb hits the tent and kills everyone near it.
And inside it.
Including Nathan, Rick, and the nurse, and whoever else might have been standing around. And Leo is flung to the ground by the impact of the bomb, but he's able to turn and see the fallout.
It was a very small bomb.
It was.
It was a boom.
Oh, that was perfect. Oh, and this is why she's my best friend, ladies and gentlemen. Because of stupid shit like that. That was beautiful.
So happy to be of service.
Oh, man.
Thank you for my service.
We cut back to present. Back in the manor.
Leo is crying. Like us. But not with laughter.
Yeah, and it was... I think this is the worst Leo crying face. This wasn't...
Oh no, it gets worse later in the episode. It feels worse later in the episode.
It might feel worse later in the episode, but this was definitely he was trying to put on the tears at this point.
Okay, that's fair.
Anyway, he says that he should have stayed and tried to save Nathan.
Piper says that he would have died in the tent, and that all the guys he saved in the field would have died without him, reassuring him that he did the right thing. And Paige is like, yeah, they posthumously gave you the Medal of Honor. But Leo's like, I didn't deserve that.
Piper asks if he didn't deserve to be a White Lighter, and Leo asks if the lives that he saved were more important than Nathan or Rick or anyone else in that tent because he left them to die.
It was a fucking bomb. Anyway, he says that all the good he's done since doesn't erase that, and wonders if he didn't deserve to become a White Lighter.
Paige gives him the newsflash that friends don't kill each other, and thinks that they should, quote, douse their dusty bones with our magic potion and vanquish their sorry asses, unquote.
Just wondering, you get promoted, effectively, to being a White Lighter when you die if you've, done a bunch of good shit.
Right.
And then Paige just inherited that? I'm thinking about it now, it's a bit weird, because Leo's talking about, oh, I don't deserve to be a White Lighter, and, does Paige? She literally did nothing except be born.
Yep.
Be conceived, and she's part White Lighter.
Yep.
She doesn't get everything, obviously, but, somehow, I mean, maybe this is why they're no, White Lighters, don't fraternize, don't have children, nah. But it's just really funny because he's saying, I don't deserve to be a White Lighter, and Paige is I'm half one over here.
Yeah, and she had her White Lighter abilities before she ever had her witch abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah.
Yeah. And she still had her White Lighter abilities even when her witch abilities were bound.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
Leo
says that they can't vanquish the ghosts because they didn't do anything wrong, so Piper asks what he suggests.
And Leo's I might be able to talk to them, make them understand why I did what I did, and then help them move on. Piper says they still need to figure out where they're buried so they can summon them before they try to hurt anyone else.
We jump back over to Rick and Nathan at the Memorial Hall. Rick is pissed that Leo was made, quote, a frickin' angel, unquote, wondering how he could have been rewarded for turning his back on his friends.
I mean, they probably didn't see what happened after.
No, of course they didn't. But I think it's interesting, again, they know about witches, they know about white lighters.
Mm.
But that's about it.
Yeah. And I guess maybe they've heard about, like, what he did the rest of that day before he died.
I don't think so.
But, like, they've been there.
Yeah.
They've been there for 60 years.
Yeah,
they
but
would
I
have
don't
been there
think-
when the medal was awarded.
This is true, but I don't think they care.
This is fair.
Because, you turned your back on us. Yeah, you died later that day, but you didn't die with us. You didn't die trying to save Nathan's life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the anger is coming from. It's
Well,
not
yeah.
just that you left us, but that you went on to do other things. And you got to, become a white lighter, and now you get to live the good life.
Yeah.
And have a life and have a family and all that stuff. So that's what they're pissed about.
Yeah. Anyway, Nathan points out that Leo had a look of total guilt on his face when he saw them, and is happy that Leo seems to know that he's living a lie built on their corpses.
Rick isn't calming down, saying that he wants Leo dead, and then he throws a chair into a glass display case.
Nathan says that he can't kill a white lighter, but Rick says that they can hurt him by taking the things that he holds dear.
He then knocks over a shelf, saying that they'll punish him by making him feel like the fraud he is and killing those he loves. And then he flips over a table that is displaying some sort of water battle scene thing, saying that after they do this, that they might be able to kill Leo himself. And then he says, "Payback is a witch."
Spoiler, that'll come back as a title of a Season 8 episode.
Yeah, well, alrighty then.
We then get an exterior shot of a very large building. A very tall building.
Yes.
Before finding ourselves inside what looks to be a particularly styled living room.
Yeah, there's a fireplace with a seating area in front of it. There's even a piano.
Mm-hmm.
Cole and Phoebe walk in, and we can see that Phoebe has added a red, long-sleeve, cropped zip-up hoodie with white stripes on the wrists and at the bottom. And, if the sleeves were any shorter, I would assume that this was from the children's section, because the cropped jacket is shorter than her cropped top underneath. Just saying.
Yeah.
Phoebe is impressed by the building, by the apartment that they're in. Cole tells her that the firm uses it for parties, retreats, and special occasions.
And tells her that she qualifies, and she giggles at the sight of the huge space, and he tells her to listen.
She says she can't hear anything. And he replies, "Exactly."
Yeah.
He says the caterers aren't coming until 4, so she can use it until then. She wonders if he won't get in trouble. He says he's already in trouble because he's in love. And she hits him playfully.
That's almost not wrong, either.
It's true.
Yeah. She sits at the table and asks if he was serious about them getting a place of their own, mentioning she's worried about breaking up the power of 3. Cole sits down, reminding her that they don't have to live together to be charmed, since the source is dead, and both Leo and Paige can own her back at a moment's notice.
He asks when they do it if they don't do it now. Phoebe quips that Piper will kill her, and Cole says that the manor is too crowded with not enough room or electricity. Phoebe agrees, saying that there's not enough privacy. Cole stands up, telling her to enjoy her peace, and heads for the elevator. He says that they can talk more at the party, which makes her remember that she didn't bring anything to wear.
He's like, "You concentrate on work. I'll take care of everything." And as the elevator opens, we see Julie is in there.
Cole walks in, closes the elevator doors. Phoebe does not notice that Julie is in the elevator with him.
Cole tells Julie that Phoebe needs a dress for the party, so Julie does this, spin thing where as she spins, her outfit changes into a different outfit.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's really, really neat. I like the way they did this.
Yeah, she spins around, and her outfit becomes a single-shoulder black dress, probably no bra.
Yeah.
He's like, "It's classy, too safe, though. I want her to get noticed." So she spins around again, and the dress turns into this, short, sparkly red dress, with 2 straps, but a lot of skin, boob window, and diamond cutouts on the waist.
Yeah, and
Very
definitely
fun.
no bra on this
Yeah,
one.
it's like red base gold glitter with some gold kind of piping-ish.
He says he doesn't want her to get that noticed, so Julie spins again, and the red outfit changes into a long black skirt with a long slit and a very low-cut black halter top, also no bra. And he says that it's perfect. She thanks him, and then asks if he wants to see the red one again. He tells her to save it, that he's not interested. He's a one-woman demon. So that's 1 point in the good guy column for Cole. Too bad he's such a bad guy.
Uh-huh.
She says he's the boss. He says he'll be in touch, and he flames out. And she shimmers out just as the doors open, and a man with a room service cart comes in.
Yeah.
It was beautiful timing.
Yes.
They did a very good job with that.
Back at the manor, Paige hangs up the phone in the foyer. She says she found Rick and Nathan Lang buried November 22nd, 1942.
At the local VA.
At the local VA.
Now, reminder, they were supposedly died the same day Leo did. And if we remember the dates that Leo died, that would be November 24th.
Yeah.
At Guadalcanal, which is the islands far, far away from California. So they were buried 2 days before they died.
Apparently, whoever wrote this sentence was not buried in the show's own lore from this episode.
From earlier in the scene. Like, I question things. Like, if they didn't die that same day, like if Leo lived 2 days extra, they still wouldn't have been buried the day they died.
Nope.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. No, they easily could have just changed this to November 22nd, or December 22nd.
Yeah.
And that would be fine. Like, sure, they'd be a little moldy, but, you know, it takes a while to ship bodies.
Uh-huh.
They probably do some kind of preemptive preservative thing to them over there and then ship them.
They could have even just changed the year so it would have been 43.
Oh, yeah, it would take a long time, wouldn't it?
If you had just changed it to a year later, because we had, you know, so many bodies dying.
This is true.
Just saying.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, when, like, what the process for returning bodies from areas of conflict was for World War II.
I don't know.
Because, like,
that is not something I am going to look up.
Recall, the fighting lasted until February of 1943. So, until it was all done, I imagine it would have been fairly difficult to, like, send all the dead bodies home, much less the living ones.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the living ones would be the priority if they're injured or whatnot and can't fight anymore, because you don't want them being liabilities and whatnot. But, like, what about the dead guys? Do they just, like, oh, I never have to ship a ship of the live ones. We just send a few dead ones along.
Yep. Just stuff them in the cargo hold.
Yeah. Like, you know, grab some salt.
Yeah.
Just douse them a bit. We'll pre-mummify them a bit. Just a bit.
Just a skosh.
Yeah. Like, we'll...
Though, to be fair, we don't
just,
know
like,
how much
some
of them
salt,
was left.
Leave them out in the sun. Turn them into soldier jerky.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is an image no one needed, Kendra.
You're welcome.
Oh, God.
But hey, soldier jerky will last a much better time on the ship. I mean, that's essentially what mummies are. Just Egyptian jerky.
Wow.
Extra salty.
Anyway, Paige walks back into the living room where Piper and Leo are. Piper says they need the summoning spell from the book. Paige holds up a piece of paper with the spell already on it, commenting, "Who you gonna call?" which is a reference to the 1984 movie Ghostbusters. It's very funny.
And then at this moment, the elders call Leo because Maria, the teacher, is apparently in trouble and he has to get to her. Just then, Rick and Nathan pop their head through the wall. Paige asks about the ghost. Leo's like, oh, I can't let something happen to one of my charges. Piper's like, no, go. We'll meet you at the VA when you're done.
Yeah, just meet us when you're done. Leo orbs out. Piper and Paige grab their jackets and head out. And we cut outside where Rick and Nathan are standing next to the house. They pull their heads out of the house.
Yeah.
Nathan wonders if they should wait for the sisters to separate, but Rick says they're going to follow Wyatt. Going to follow Leo. Nathan questions him, and Rick says that nothing pushes a Whitelighter over the edge faster than losing a charge. And then they disappear. How did you know this? I want to know more about Rick and Nathan.
Yeah.
Like, how do they know this shit? How do they know about witches? How do they know about Whitelighters? Where do they get this information?
I don't know.
We cut over to Maria's place.
Maria is being held at knife point by a kid who is clearly an adult. We will later learn is named Greg.
Now, this actor is Rene Hager. He was born March 29th, 1978 in West Germany.
So he's 24.
Yeah. He has 27 acting credits so far, starting back in 2000 with a role in Gilmore Girls.
Oh, classmate must have been.
Yeah, it was like the second episode of Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
He played Kid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And he is in a lot of stuff where he can go back and forth from being German to having American. So he does an American accent very well. He sounds very American. He
sounds like he would be perfect for a World War II spy movie.
Yeah. But he'd be on the Nazi side, because German.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but...
Because if he can just speak German and sound German...
This is true.
That would make him a good spy.
But yeah. But the fact that he was born in West Germany says a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because 1978, West Germany was still a thing.
Yeah. I actually found that out when I was working on a violin, and the label inside said... like the Democratic Republic of Germany, or like some like whatever, and it was just like, huh?
Yeah.
And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it didn't actually like end until, the fucking wall came down.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I still can't believe, like, out of all of the things that's happened in my lifetime, that was so long ago that it doesn't feel like it happened in my lifetime, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was a kid when the wall came down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. Were you born yet?
No, that was 89.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I didn't exist until January of 90. And I wasn't even born until September.
Wow. Sometimes I forget how young you are. Oh, man.
Sometimes I forget how old I am.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Leo comes through the door, surprising Maria and riling up Greg.
Leo tries to talk him down, asking him to put down the knife, but Greg swings the knife over at Leo and then grabs him, holding the knife towards his neck, while Maria begs him to stop.
Greg says that someone has to pay for her dissing him.
Ugh.
God, I hate that word.
How you know this was written by an adult who doesn't know how to write children?
Yep.
Or teenagers or anything.
Yep. Leo tells Maria not to be afraid and to teach. Greg tells Leo to shut up, and then he's the one...
Not to teach. He calls her teach.
No, he just says teach.
Yes, because Greg called her teach. Yes.
Greg, I don't think he meant it as calling her teach. I meant he was telling her to teach.
No, he was addressing her. Well, okay. It's a double meaning.
Okay.
It's a double meaning. But, like, because Greg was talking about dissing him and calling her teach... So Leo turns that around, and he just kind of, like, raises his eyebrows, and he's like, hey, teach. Like, that kind of a thing.
Okay. I didn't take it as a double meaning, but I will take it as a double meaning.
It's both a nickname and an imperative.
Yeah.
So,
anyway.
It's, as it is, she is a teacher. She teach. However you want to take that, as a noun or a verb.
Sure.
Because language.
Sure. Greg tells Leo to shut up, that he's the one that should be afraid, and Maria tells Greg not to be stupid, since hurting Leo would be the stupidest thing he could ever do, there'd be no coming back from that, and his life would be over.
Greg says that his life is already over, and Maria tells him that it takes more courage to put down that knife than to use it.
Which, I mean...
True, but, like,
true.
It's just, like, this is the kind of thing that people put into these situations, like writers put into this situation. Yeah. This would never happen in real life. No. Yeah. She holds out her hand, asking for the knife. Greg is like, "You'll call the police," and she's like, "I won't."
And then, like the kid that he is, instead of giving her the knife and turning himself in or stopping whatever, he just drops the knife on the floor and runs out of the apartment, stopping to look back at her and close the door behind him.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now that knife is just sitting there on the ground. I wonder how that will come back into play.
Yep.
Maria asks Leo if he's okay. He says that he is and that she did a good job teaching him a lesson.
She thanks Leo for reminding her why she wanted to be a teacher, and then Rick appears and picks up the knife.
Hey, look! Here we go!
Leo cries out as Rick stabs Maria in the back, and then Nathan appears and knocks Leo to the ground.
Rick tells Leo to watch her die like he watched them die.
He didn't.
He didn't. His back was turned, and it was a bomb. You were gone before he even turned around.
Anything.
Leo tries to cry out for Maria, whose spirit floats out of her body.
He tries to get her to fight and stay, but it doesn't work. She just goes up through the ceiling.
Yep. Nathan says that her blood is on his hands, and then they let him go, and he crawls over to Maria and tries to heal her, but she's already gone. And he yells at them, asking why she was an innocent.
And Rick is like, we were innocent, and then he and Nathan disappear, and we go to commercial break.
We come back to Piper and Paige walking in through the front door of the manor.
Piper tells Paige to get the vanquishing spell, then calls out for Leo.
Paige asks if she doesn't mean the potion, because, the spell only works when you're dead.
And Piper replies with, whatever, and calls for Leo again.
Paige asks if she doesn't want to help them move on, and Piper's like, yeah, they can move on to hell, because we're not going to help killer ghosts.
Yeah. Paige says that they don't know for sure that the ghosts killed the guard, and heads to make the potion.
Phoebe stands on the stairs, wearing the black outfit. So for some reason, she's now back at the house.
Yeah.
With this brand new outfit. Now, this was my question, right?
Well, it was nighttime by now, right?
Right, so it had to have been after 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
She finished her work. She comes back to the house and has this brand new outfit. What would she have worn had Cole not given her something to wear? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
We'll never find out, but I want to know these things because I'm weird.
Yeah. Anyway, she's got a lovely white orchid in her hair.
And the outfit,
kind of Billie Holiday-esque.
Yeah, a little bit. And the outfit shows off the tattoo on her hip.
Yeah.
And the tattoo on her back. And I love that they're not hiding the tattoos anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So nice.
Yeah. Piper sounds surprised to see her, and Phoebe asks if she doesn't recognize her.
Which I thought was a little odd.
Yeah.
It's like, what, you don't recognize me? Like,
I mean,
why wouldn't I recognize you?
It's a joke.
Just a dress.
It's a joke.
Paige says she looks beautiful, and Piper thinks that Cole is splurging a bit.
Phoebe's like, I'm not complaining. I'm gonna enjoy being the belle of the ball.
Piper apologizes to Cinderella, saying the ball's been canceled due to killer ghosts.
Phoebe laughs and then realizes that Piper isn't kidding.
She asks if they can handle it without her, and Paige says that they tried to kill Leo due to a grudge from the past. Paige then turns to go make the potion, but she stops as Phoebe says that she'll call Cole and tell him no to the party and no to everything, and then she picks up the phone and starts dialing.
Piper asks what she means, and Phoebe hangs up and says that Cole wanted them to get their own place like normal married couples do.
Piper says that she and Leo didn't.
They almost did.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe says they're not normal, and Piper's like, yeah, you aren't either. Which, is true.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe says that she doesn't want to fight, but she doesn't like having to choose between her sisters and her husband.
Piper says that she knows it's not about that, and Phoebe asks how long they're all going to stay in this house together before they stop letting evil dictate their lives. She's like, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years? And we're like, maybe, bitch.
Yep. Piper tells Phoebe to go to her party, and they'll take care of the ghosts.
Phoebe says Piper hates her. Piper's like, no, I don't. And Paige is like, yes, she does. Which was so sister.
Yeah.
Like, that was by far the most sister moment.
But Piper says they can talk about it later since they both need to take care of their respective men, and they don't need the power of 3 to vanquish a ghost.
Phoebe heads for the door as Paige says something about her being practically forced to move in and saying she has a bone to pick with Piper, which I thought was very funny. Again, Paige's sister moments in this scene are my favorite sister moments so far.
Mm-hmm. Piper realizes that she's called for Leo twice with no answer. She asks Paige to sense him since she's half white lighter, even though she's never done it before. And literally, Paige closes her eyes. It takes a moment. We hear a chime. And she's like, it worked.
Yeah. She opens them saying that Leo's in trouble. Piper tells her to go find him, and Paige orbs out. We cut over to Maria's place, where Leo is sitting on the floor beside Maria, crying as Paige orbs in.
He says he tried to stop them, but he couldn't. She pulls him away from Maria, helping him over to a chair in the other room, and asks what happened. He tells her Rick and Nathan killed Maria because he left them to die, and they're making him pay.
She tries to get him to come home with her, but he says that he doesn't have his powers to orb or to heal anymore, but that it doesn't matter because he shouldn't have been given them in the first place.
Paige recognizes this as being bullshit, and she's like, no, that just probably means they're tied to your emotions like ours.
Yep, you can get them back.
Which I believe we learned in Season 1, Episode 22. Or 20? Yeah. 20. I think it was 20.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, it takes emotion to activate the powers that we damn well know.
Yes. Anyway, she tries to get him to understand that he's not responsible for their actions, but he says that they're ghosts because of him, and that their rage comes from something he did.
He starts to say that he could give himself to them, but Paige says they'd kill him because without his powers, he's as defenseless as a mortal.
She then tries to reach for him to take him home, but he yells at her that no one else is going to die because of him, and that they're his demons, not hers.
She asks him to wait and not leave while she goes back to get her sisters, and then she orbs out. And we cut up to the rooftop of the building as we see Paige's orbs pass by Rick and Nathan.
Rick seems happy that Leo is right where they want him and defenseless, like a mortal. But then Nathan starts to say something, and Rick wonders if he's having second thoughts.
Nathan says just the opposite, and that he wants Leo to suffer before they kill him. So Rick tells him to follow, and they disappear.
We cut back over to the apartment, where now the party is being held. Cole and Phoebe are dancing. Cole is in a black suit with a black shirt and a black tie.
Oh, yeah.
I love that combination on almost any person. A black suit with a black shirt and a black tie just looks real nice, as long as it's cut properly.
I love the black suit with the black shirt. I think you should have, like, a very dark colored tie, though. Like, personally. Like, if you had, like, a nice maroon tie or, like, a deep purple or something. Like, just a little bit.
A little tint of color?
Just the barest tint of color.
Yeah.
Just a little.
I could go for, like a dark plum. Like a super dark.
Yeah, because the other option is to play with the textures. Mm-hmm. Because if you have all black, okay, well maybe the jacket itself is like a brocade, and then the shirt is like a regular cotton or whatever, kind of matte, and then the tie is a silk or a satin.
Yeah.
So the light plays off of all of it very differently, even though it would be exactly the same color.
Yeah. Be very cool.
And the lapels. Ooh, the lapels could also be satin. That would be nice.
Lapel. Anyway, Phoebe asks what he's thinking. He says he hopes he never disappoints her. She tells him not to worry about that. And then a coworker approaches them, welcoming him aboard and saying they're lucky to have him. Now, again, I'm going to assume this character is Colin McLean, as he's the only one credited as lawyer. But he has no picture on IMDb. He only has 19 acting credits between 1994 and 2018, but one of them was the dentist back in episode 306, Primrose Empath, though I don't remember the dentist being African-American.
I mean, nothing in my brain is saying that he wasn't, so...
Maybe. I mean, it could have been. I just literally don't remember, because it's been a while since we recorded that episode, so it's been a while since I've watched that episode, and I did not go back to watch it again, just to find out. But I thought it was very interesting that this is apparently the same actor who played the dentist in that episode. Anyway.
Just racking up them degrees.
Yep. Cole thanks him, and he leaves, and then they go back to dancing, and Phoebe tells Cole how proud she is of how far he's come.
He tells her that they both deserve everything they're getting, and more, and she says that everything is happening really fast, and it's a little scary. He asks if that means that they're not moving out of the manor, and she replies, maybe, and then asks if she's disappointing him.
He says she could never disappoint him, and they kiss. And just then, Paige comes up to them and apologizes for interrupting.
Phoebe asks why she's there, and Paige is like, Leo needs our help. So Phoebe looks at Cole, who tells her to go because, she's been seen by the boss, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
They kiss quickly. He tells her to call him, and Phoebe and Paige leave. Ooh. I mean, I wonder where Paige orbed in.
I'm assuming, like, right outside the door, or...
Maybe.
Yeah, like, she definitely didn't orb in next to them.
No.
But she orbed in somewhere nearby. But I love the fact that she is dressed in her normal, like, outfit. She is not dressed for a party, and nobody looks at her at all. None of the extras even turn in her direction.
Nope.
So, just putting that out there.
Yep.
We get a quick exterior shot of the manor before we cut into the attic.
Piper has set up candles, the book, and a cauldron. She's breaking something and adding it to the cauldron as Rick appears behind her. He takes one of the athames, or he takes the athame, I suppose, off of the table and throws it at her, but she notices before it hits her and she freezes it.
She unfreezes it and it immediately drops to the ground instead of continuing in its trajectory like every other time when she's unfrozen something, it continues going where it was going.
And the effect of it, like, she throws up her hands, it freezes, and then when she drops her hands is when it unfreezes, as opposed to, like, doing the, like, motion.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. She tells Rick that she'll kill him, and he reminds her that the potion only works on his bones, because apparently he was there when that conversation happened.
She spins around, and Nathan, who has appeared behind her, stabs her in the stomach.
She falls to the floor. Rick and Nathan kneel beside her. Rick covers her mouth and tells her that she can't call for help this time, but that Leo couldn't help her anyway. Nathan tries to get Rick to leave, but he wants to enjoy every last beat of her heart, which he does by reaching his hand inside her chest and squeezing her heart.
And now, in some shots that are kind of close up on Holly, you can just see his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
You just see them at the bottom of the frame. And I don't know if this would have been cut out during broadcast or something.
Yeah.
But, like, that's fucking sloppy.
Yeah, it was a little sloppy. And I would
Rick's
also
a sloppy bitch.
I would also like to mention the fact that he is pumping her heart, waiting for it to stop beating, but no extra blood is coming out of her wound
Yeah, nothing.
on her stomach.
She's not really bleeding at all. They've shown, like, injuries where there'll be a little pool of blood beneath them on the floor, but
Nope.
this is not one of them, apparently.
Nope. He tells her that her husband is next. She then stops breathing as Paige and Phoebe run in, yelling at the ghost boys, and they race over to Piper, not doing anything to the ghosts at all, just running over to Piper. Not that they could, but the fact that they don't even, like, try anything. Phoebe feels for a pulse as Rick says that they'll be back, and they disappear, and we go to commercial break.
We come back to the attic where Phoebe is doing CPR on Piper.
Quote unquote CPR, because she's not doing it properly. Her timing is all wrong.
Staying alive,
Staying alive. She's going way too slow.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing, like, one pump every, like, 2 seconds. Or so. It is not right. Not right at all. Anyway. And
She's just doing the offbeats.
yeah. And all of that pumping should still be making more blood come out of the wound, and yet nothing.
No. Paige, apparently having gone to find Leo, orbs in without him. He wasn't at Maria's, and then she's like, where's the ambulance? Phoebe's like, not here yet.
Paige starts to ask if Piper is dead, but Phoebe says that she still has a chance as long as the blood is flowing, and asks Paige to put pressure on the wound. Again, we literally just saw that he waited until her heart stopped, and there was no blood coming out of the wound. A lot of things in this particular scene don't make any sense at all. Just
I mean,
saying.
no, that part actually makes more sense than the lack of blood flowing.
I understand maybe like if the blood is pooling in her stomach, at least as long as it's still pumping through her brain.
Well, yes.
It's keeping her alive. I
But
kind of
some
get
of it
that,
should be
but-
coming out of the wound.
Yes.
Yes.
Some. There should at least be a little bit extra, like, spurt. Something should be coming out of that wound.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Paige grabs a towel, puts it on Piper's wound, though we don't actually see her press down on it at all. And then we hear Leo call for Piper from downstairs. Paige yells to him that they're up in the attic, and he runs in, because apparently he's a fast runner. Because he has no powers, so it wasn't like he orbed from downstairs to upstairs.
Yeah.
He ran from downstairs to upstairs in less than 3 seconds.
Yeah. He asks what happened. Phoebe's like, where have you been? And he's like, I was looking for Rick and Nathan. And then they appear.
Nathan punches Leo. He lands on a table and breaks it, which brings our furniture annihilation quotient up to 16 for the season and 65 for the series. Paige then lunges at Rick. He goes incorporeal, so she goes right through him, and she lands in some boxes. She looks up at him, and he backhands her. I believe the term is bitch slap.
Yep. Rick says that they can't hurt him, but he can hurt them. And then he picks up the knife and aims at Phoebe.
Leo cries out saying that they don't want to hurt the girls, they want him, so come get even with me. And Rick is like, I trusted you with my life. You left me. And then he punches Leo in the face.
As Piper's spirit floats out of her body. She, like, rises up and stands and then turns around. And she's like, what's happening? And then looks down. And she's like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Oh, no. And as Rick and Nathan are beating up Leo in the background, Rick is saying Leo was their friend. He left them to die. And
Piper realizes that she has an opportunity, so she asks her sisters to get the spell from the book, just as Rick holds a knife above Leo, and Piper starts to say the spell, much to the surprise of Rick and Nathan.
Yep. Reminding you the spell is ashes to ashes, spirit to spirit, take their souls, banish this evil.
Not a rhymer.
Not a rhymer.
Not a reasoner either.
They are vanquished in a flash of red, and then Piper's spirit starts floating toward the ceiling, and she's like, can I get a little help here, guys?
Yeah. Paige yells at Leo that he's a whitelighter because he did good things, and Phoebe tells him to think of all the lives he's saved. Paige tells him to think of all the lives he won't save if he gives up, including his wife's.
That seems to shake him out of his stupor, and he rushes over to Piper's body, like crawling over the bits of wood from the table he smashed. He begs her to breathe, starts doing his own not real CPR, begging her not to die because of him.
And at this point, his powers come back. So he flings the towel, which had just been sitting on her stomach, away, and starts healing her.
Her spirit returns to her body, and she gasps, and she says that was close, really close, and then they hug. And I want to know, how many times has Piper died or almost died now? Like 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we probably would have had a tally for this, but it totally would have been a spoiler.
No,
so
hang on.
We don't, but like...
Well, I mean, no, we don't have a tally, but the Box of Shadows, I believe, said 9.
So far.
No, across the entire series.
Right,
but
that's what I'm saying,
5 so far. So we've got another 4 to look forward to, guys.
Spoilers.
I don't know when they are.
Yeah.
We get then a helicopter night shot of the city with the Golden Gate Bridge and then the Triangle Building before landing on Cole, who is standing in a window at the apartment where the party was.
The party is completely over. As Phoebe comes in, he asks if everything was all right. She replies that it's better now, and then gives him a quick rundown that Leo lost his powers, Piper died and turned into a ghost, but everything worked out. And he says that he's glad it was nothing serious.
Phoebe laughs and hugs him, and he asks if she's ready to go home. She's like, can we stay a little bit longer? And he's like, oh, honey, you get as long as you want. The firm offered us the apartment.
Which, red flag, like, number 743.
Yeah.
Because why? Why? They use this apartment for retreats and parties and all sorts of things. Oh, but you can live here. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need it anymore for any of that. Just saying.
Maybe they wanted the opportunity to have retreats, like, out of the city.
Phoebe...
Go to Muir Woods or some shit.
Sure. Phoebe looks around, and then she agrees, since Paige can orb to her if something comes up, and they just prove that they can still save the day.
They kiss, she hugs him, but Cole doesn't look all that happy.
Nope, he does not.
We get a quick exterior shot of the Memorial Hall building. Sorry, the Patriotic Hall building. And then we find ourselves inside the Guadalcanal reunion.
And there are a lot of old people milling about.
Mm-hmm. But, like, not old enough people.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's been 60 years.
I mean,
and
they all kind of look like they could maybe be in their 80s.
Most of them look like they're maybe mid-70s at the most.
Well, I mean, if they were 18 during the thing, maybe.
Well, yeah, but, like, there's still going to be a range.
I guess.
And, like, they should be older than that. It's just funny.
Hey,
because, like, I swear one guy who walked up was, like, 65. I'm just like, there is no fucking way.
Hey, who knows how many people lied about their age?
A 5-year-old?
Who knows?
Sorry, a 7-year-old?
Who knows? Anyway.
Oh my god, what thyroid problem did he have?
Well, but also you have to remember...
That apparently went away later.
But you also have to remember that it's not just the people who were at Guadalcanal. This is also their families and stuff like that.
Well, no, I get that. But, like, I'm talking about the dudes wearing the hats.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they were veterans of that war. It's, this was my father's hat. That sort of thing. You know, you never know.
There was none of that in this episode.
You never know. I'm just putting out a possible thought, you know? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Piper and Leo arrive. Leo is in a very nice tan suit. Piper is in a stunning olive green dress.
Was it like a little sparkly?
It was shimmered.
Okay.
It wasn't sparkle so much as shimmer. It was
okay.
It was a very
So it was mica, not glitter.
correct. Yeah.
Just to use our soap terms.
Yes. She has her hair down in these beautiful curls.
Oh my god, I love this. Is my favorite hair of hers ever.
Ever.
It's okay.
So
So,
pretty.
like anyone who knows to curl hair, you can do it one of two directions. You can do it away from the face, or you can do it toward the face. And when you do it toward the face, you get this lovely retro look,
Yes.
just like this. Like this is quasi 40s, but it's not like bobbed or anything.
Yeah, and it's not a stereotype.
Yeah. So
It's
like
just it's a reminiscent style.
yeah.
It's
A
very
person
nice.
from this era would not have worn their hair like this because that would have been hugely inconvenient and not quite fashionable. But yeah,
But it's so pretty.
Nice.
It's so pretty. She also has a little diamond cross necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Leo is looking tentative, but Piper says that he belongs there. He says he's not sure if it's a good idea, and Piper says that his grandfather would want him to be there.
This makes him smile a bit. They walk into the main room, and a dude in a wheelchair, who's maybe 68 at the top, asks if he's looking at a ghost. Piper asks Leo if he knows this guy, and Leo's like, yeah.
Now, this actor is James Green. He was born December 1st, 1926.
So he would have been 16
Right.
at this battle.
Right. But the point is that, again, they could be lying about their age, but the point is he was born in 26. This takes place in 2002. You're saying he looked 60. He was like 80.
He looks really young.
So, there you go. So these people you think are 60 aren't 60. So, screw you and your bad take. He was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts. He died at the age of 91 on November 9th, 2018, in Los Angeles, California. He has 110 acting credits between 1960 and 2018, and some people might recognize him as Councilman Milton from the show Parks and Recreation. He asked Leo if he was related to Leo Wyatt. Leo doesn't answer, but Piper's like, yes, he's the grandson, Leo Wyatt III.
Oh, boy.
And then the man calls over his sons, Billy and Frank, to meet Leo. Billy gets a credit, but Frank doesn't, because Billy actually gets a line. Billy is played by Joel Anderson, born November 19th, 1955, in San Diego, California. He has no picture on IMDb, but he has 28 acting credits starting back in 1989.
We learned that Billy and Frank wouldn't have been born if Leo hadn't saved this guy.
Who never gets a name.
Yeah.
He just is credited as veteran.
Yeah. Billy shakes Leo's hand, saying he's heard stories about his grandfather since he was a boy, and introduces Leo to his family.
The veteran then calls over Franklin and Surdez. Franklin is played by Tom Finnegan. He has no picture on IMDb, 52 acting credits between 1982 and 2010. Surdez is played by Charles C. Stevenson Jr. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because he was Caddy Guy number 1 back in episode 217, How to Make a Quilt Out of Americans.
Yep. The nameless veteran tells them that Leo is kin to Leo Wyatt, and we learn that Leo saved their lives too.
Franklin shakes Leo's hand, and then other elderly men walk over to Leo. They all shake his hand. They say it's good to meet him. And then we get a woman, played by Cheryl Anderson, who has 37 acting credits between 1981 and 2009, who walks up to Piper and says, "What's going on? Who is that?"
Piper's like, my hero, and smiles. I swear, maybe this is just my brain, but I swear the woman kind of turned away with a like, okay, kind of look.
Yeah, she totally did. She had that look of like, that didn't answer my question, but all right. And then we end with everyone crowding around Leo and giving him handshakes and hugs.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, we go to the end credits, and my heart is full.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. So, with our end credits, means the episode is over, so we're on to our ratings. Do you have a clue what you would like to rate?
Yes, I just thought of it.
All right, you can go first.
I'm going to give this 8.5 out of 10 memorial medals.
Alrighty then. And I am giving it a fitting 9 out of 10 Piper death scenes. Oh boy. I didn't realize that it was going to be prophetic.
Yep.
Can't wait for that. So, with ratings done, we are on to outfits. For
Piper's dress.
Yeah,
Piper's
for
dress.
Piper and
Actually,
Phoebe,
I really love the first outfit too, but like Piper's dress.
Yeah, for Piper and Phoebe, their final dresses, without a doubt, were my favorite outfits on them. Piper's dress is my favorite outfit of the entire episode. But Paige was in, like, the same outfit all episodes, so I like it best, I guess, without the jacket. Because, like, I kind of enjoyed the little ruffle straps on the tank top. I don't know why. It was a stupid addition, but it looked adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
It looked cute.
It was just there for no reason.
Well,
It was fashion over function.
because we all know that whatever jobs they have don't matter until the plot happens at their job.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I do think it also very, very funny that Paige, we never saw her call out from work. She just doesn't show up. You know.
Family emergency.
Yep.
How many times can you use that?
Apparently a lot in this family.
Oh, this universe.
Yep.
More magical realism.
Yeah.
Or just magic.
So, with ratings done, outfits done, it is time for social media stuff.
As always, you can email us any questions or comments to charmchats@gmail.com, and you can find all of the links to whatever dumb random tangents we went on over at charmedchats.com.
Which is where you can also find all of the links to our Twitter, our Tumblr, our Instagram, our YouTube, our Redbubble, and our Patreon pages. And if you want to join the Discord, all you have to do is email us the phrase "we're the power of 2 plus blue" to charmchats@gmail.com, and we will send you an invite link. We want more people in the Discord. It's a fun time, beautiful community.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's some stuff happening over there that doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye.
Bye-bye.